time. It's time. It's time. It's Commissioner Cooper, and it's time for TSS Fantasy. Yeah. 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 It's Commissioner Cooper, and it's time.
How the fuck you got me up this damn early, Jason?
It's time.
That's right, TSS family. It's Commissioner Cooper, and you are waking up with TSS Fantasy. So no big intro, and Greg, obviously, I didn't get you up this damn early. I'm a solo act today because I'm the only one able to get up this early, apparently. So this is a live interactive show for all of you that have last minute lineup questions, people that you're not sure who you shouldn't start today or should start. So that's why I woke up this early just to see, because I know, like me, it's football day. I'm up early. I'm worried about my team usually, and it's not just the fantasy, it's on to the Dolphins first thing early in the morning. Let's hear what the predictions are. Let's see what everyone's saying. I don't want to get on big rant on that. However, I did see everyone sway to the Patriots just because of a rookie quarterback. What a bunch of chumps. Anyway, good morning. This is Wake Up TSS Fantasy. You can visit us at tssfantasy.com. Don't forget, look at all of our rankings. We'll just be discussing mine on today's show. And you can also go to our YouTube. You can see us here live and interact with me live. Hit the subscribe button to make sure you're alerted when we do go live for our future shows. Also, proud members of the Belly Up Sports Podcast Network. We want you to visit Belly Up Sports Podcast Network. When you get a chance, go online. Lots of great podcasts there to check out. Everything from racing to wrestling. Basically, we have it all for you. So please don't hesitate. Visit. We have merchandise on there. So anything you want TSS related, you can find there as well. Not that you'd want to buy anything anyway, but it's just there for your Christmas options. All right. We're going to start today's show. I have a quick it was a grade of a team. I didn't get to it last show. Last show kind of came up very quick. I didn't realize we were going to do start 'em and sit 'em, and then we are going to talk about our rankings. However, it went so fast, we just got through start 'em and sit 'em at that point. So we're going to go through the rankings in this show because, quite frankly, I don't anticipate a lot of people having a lot of questions, because at this point, you should have already drafted your team. You should be pretty much set. I know those. I've gotten some trade questions. I've gotten some, things. Should I drop this guy, pick up this guy? Listen, you drafted your team. Let's chill a little bit. Let the week play out. Unless you have a major injury, unless you had a Gus Edwards, something like that, there's no reason to make a trade or look to drop and pick up. It's just kind of silly at this point. Just relax. Let it play out and see how your team goes. You drafted those guys for a reason. Something called you to them. Might be a higher calling. You never know. It's Sunday, right? Sunday morning. That's what we're talking about, the higher calling. All right. That's what you get with TSS Fantasy. All right. Let's start off with the question. This was a grade team. It's a 12-man PPR team. They drafted in the third spot. There's one flex on this team. I do have it up here on YouTube, but for our listening audience, the team consists of Derrick Henry, Derek Waller, Joe Mixon, Amari Cooper, Brandon Ayuk, Chase Claypool, Tom Brady, who obviously looks like a brilliant pick, Javonte Williams, Michael Pittman Jr., FT for defense, Cole Beasley, Giovanni Bernard, Trey Lance, Darnell Mooney, Mason Crosby, and Evan Ingram, who unfortunately is not playing today. So looking at this team in a PPR, not bad. I'm always talking junk on Joe Mixon. However, in the beginning of the season, he's always money. Not for nothing. He does do well until that inevitable injury happens. So, I don't particularly like his matchup today if we're talking week one, but not a bad pick. Derrick Henry, first overall. To PPR, and I'm sorry, not first overall, but first from this position at the third slot. Listen, I've said it a few times. The top 5 guys you're kind of cutting hairs with at this point. So I like Derrick Henry there. I like Derrick Henry this season with the addition of Julio Jones, like we talked about before. Takes the stacking of the line off of Derrick Henry and open up a lot of lanes. So I like Henry a lot. Darren Waller, I'm not sure how you draft one. Apparently, there was a tight end run or something made you want to jump up and grab a tight end. Brandon Ayuk, could be good depending on ends up being the quarterback. Chase Claypool, up and down. Tom Brady obviously had a great night. And I apologize. This wasn't Javonte Williams. This was Jamal Williams. And I actually like this. I wanted to mention, I think I talked about him earlier in the season. I think he can take over that running back role eventually. Dan Campbell's a hard-nosed kind of coach, and he's a hard-nosed runner, and I think that would eventually win him over there. Michael Pittman Jr., again, with the addition of Carson, could be great. FT, like their defense. Cole Beasley, great PPR pick. You could slot him in your lineup today, quite frankly, and have a decent game. He's always going to give you those points. Might not be that huge high ceiling you're looking for, but in any event, not going to be a big floor for him neither. So I do like him a lot. Giovanni Bernard didn't play much of a role. However, I've talked about him in the offseason. At some point this year, you can expect Giovanni Bernard to to have a good game for you in fantasy, especially if you need him for a flex option. Trey Lance, again, if he takes over, great job with that pick, because I'm sure you snuck him in late there. Darnell Mooney, again, let's see. We've heard a lot about Darnell Mooney, but we haven't seen much neither. So let's see what happens there. Obviously, with the kicker, Mason Crosby, good with a good team, and Evan Ingram, could end up the number 1 target in New York if he ever gets on the field. So it's a decent team. I'd have to look at the entire draft to tell you, hey, you could have went good. Could have went here, could have went there. Your running backs, you could have a little depth there. Receivers are decent. Obviously, Amari Cooper with a huge night the other night. I don't want to forget to mention that. Ayuk, we talked about that too. So, and Brady looks like he's set to have a great year. So this could be a decent team. I'd give it a B overall. I'm never too hard on teams too early, as if I've been grading these teams so far, because quite frankly, we don't know. Game flow dictates a lot of things. That's why I said that. I know Flanders took offense to what I said last week when I said, if I hear someone else mention someone's schedule from last year, I'm going to puke. And it's the truth, though, because quite frankly, that was last year. Game flow dictates what goes on in a game. So necessarily, if you have a horrible run defense, say 1 year, that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to have a horrible run defense the next year. Now, obviously, we can judge by additions and subtractions off your defense. That's basically what they're calculating on. But the fact is, you never know how a game's going to play out. So the defensive rankings to me don't mean much. We have to see how the season goes and first before we say, strength of schedule and all that. Just in my opinion anyway. All right, we're going to start with we're going to go over the quarterbacks. So we'll talk about quarterbacks, and I'll go through the rankings. First, we'll go through the top 10, kind of highlight some guys there. Maybe go through and maybe there I can answer your question as far as any quarterback you might be looking at. So when you're looking at the top 10, you're kind of cutting hairs with, like I said, with Josh Allen at Pittsburgh. You could say, well, he might not have the greatest of day because that Steelers D is kind of good. I love Josh Allen this year, but I this is funny because, the Steelers defense is good. So is the Bills defense. They're both good. But I think this is going to be one of those games that might surprise you because you might think this is going to be one of those defensive matchups. And then all of a sudden the offense starts to flowing and it just don't stop. So I actually think Josh Allen could potentially have a number 1 type day, even against that Steelers defense, only because the way the game could be dictated with Ben. It's early in the season, so he's healthy, and he can probably feel in himself a little to throw the ball a little bit more. Again, we'll see how the role Najee Harris plays in this game. But I do think this might ended up being a great fantasy game to watch and or be a part of if you have a player on there. the obvious choice for me, number one, Lamar Jackson this week. The Raiders are the Raiders. They are not very good. And they didn't get much better in the offseason. We talked about the Raiders quite frequently in preseason, how they didn't have an identity. We weren't sure, is the defense, is it predicated on stopping a run? It just doesn't look like it stops anything. So I like Lamar. Also, with the subtractions at the running back position, some might say, well, hey, that might hurt Lamar in the long run because the Raiders can, defend basically the pass and not worry about the run. However, of course, the next best option is you're going to see a lot of runs from Lamar, in my estimation. So with no running back there to speak of, other than Tyson Williams, obviously, and Latavius, I think that would be your guys you'd have in the mix today. No running back. So that, to me, equals a good day for Lamar. Again, he'll be running the football instead. So what a great day. You got a running back production and you have the quarterback production. So I like that a lot. Well, I have Tom Brady in my top 10. Obviously he had a decent night, so that came to fruition. I kind of went up there with him. I said 3 or 4 touchdowns. He showed improved that night. Cowboys D, not very good. Ryan Tannehill is an interesting one. Listen, I got him at 4. I've been high on him all year. And if you took Ryan Tannehill, in every draft I've seen, he went very low. Everyone kind of glossed over him. With the addition of Julio Jones, this could be a huge year for Ryan Tannehill. Had a great year last year. So with the addition of another great receiver, it could only get better, I would think. Again, and against Arizona, who, let's face it, they're going to have to put up points. Arizona's fast track. Let's get some points up on the board, and they're going to keep coming. So I know the Titans are going to want to establish a run with Derrick Henry today. I'm not sure how much they're going to be able to, because, this again could be a, fling it down the field type game. So I like Ryan Tannehill a lot this game. Surprisingly, again, he was taken so late, so you probably got great value there. Someone else in my top 10, I mentioned it quite a few times, probably sick of hearing it. If you are, it's cool. You can turn me off, or you're probably not listening anyway. So Jalen Hurts. I like Jalen Hurts a lot today. This is one of those games, I keep hearing it because, I don't know who made it up, the fantasy bonanza thing. I'm going to think of something else because I don't want to keep repeating the same thing, but it's going to be a great fantasy game. You got a fast track with 2 horrible defenses. Hello. What do you get? We'll talk about receivers later, but I ended up putting Devonta Smith in my lineup today, only because there was some questions on injury on the other one I had. Anyway, we'll get to that later, but I like everybody in this game. If you can get somebody other than the defenses I don't like, but if you can get the kickers, if you can get a receiver or a running back, get them started, I think there's going to be big time plays made today in Atlanta. So I like him a lot today. Other than that, real quick mention of Pat Mahomes. I got him at 5 because it's Pat Mahomes, but this Cleveland defense is good. I would temper my expectations with Pat Mahomes today only because of the defense. And, I don't know how much, Cleveland can stop Pat Mahomes. So don't get me wrong. I'm not sitting here saying that he's going to have an awful day, but it's going to be a day where Pat Mahomes, I think it's just going to be kind of average for Pat Mahomes, but for Pat Mahomes. So meaning 300 yards, maybe 3 TDs and 20 yards rushing. Who knows? Something, not spectacular, but just average for Lamar anyway. One last quick mention. I have him 6 and 7 and probably higher than most. 7 with Jameis Winston, 6 with Aaron Rodgers. Again, I just said I got to find a better word for it. This is, to me, another great fantasy game. I think you'll see Aaron Rodgers. Obviously, everyone's talking about him all offseason. Want to kind of show everybody what time it is. And Jameis Winston's got a lot to prove, and he's going to have to fling it down the field today. So I like Jameis Winston in this matchup. I like Aaron Rodgers in this matchup. Again, not sure if Jameis Winston is the answer the entire season, but I do like him today as a quarterback you can put in your fantasy lineup. All right, we're going to take a quick break. Brought to you by Island Purple.
Welcome to the island. Island Peppa Skincare Products. Love your skin your way. Stop by today at islandpeppaskincare.com to look at our variety of products for both men and women. Because in the islands, the peppa is always black.
The Peppa, always black indeed. All right, so let's go on to our 11 through 20 quarterbacks. If you're in here, you more than likely drafted in, you went high in your running backs or receivers. But you got some good matchups in here. For example, somebody I'd like to highlight is Trevor Lawrence. Not someone that you'd be, probably wanting to start. You probably have a better starter than him, but I like his matchup today against Houston. Let's face it, this is the team that's already on the clock for next year's draft. So quite frankly, I could see Trevor Lawrence having a good day. Marvin Jones Jr. too as well. We'll get to receivers later, but he sounds that could have a decent day today against this Houston team. He stepped up during the preseason. So I like that. I like Trevor Lawrence today. I'm not sure if I'd play him over people like, Aaron Rodgers, Jameis Winston, stuff like that. But, if you have some questions about the matchup defensively, you could plug in Lawrence there. I don't mind that. We had him yesterday. We had Stardom and Siddums yesterday. And Justin Herbert was on the Juice's Siddum against FT. I don't know if I'd say he's a sit-em. I mean, it's Justin Herbert. I understand the Washington defense, and we've talked about them quite often on the show, that they're improved this year. But I don't know if that, if that makes it, hey, we're going to sit Justin Herbert, because more than likely your backup isn't much better. So I'm not sure if I'd sit him today. I still, again, don't panic. You drafted these people for a reason. Let's let it play out. The same with people or Zeke owners who might be panicking. Hey, that's just the way the matchup, the game flow dictated it, and that's what happened. So I wouldn't panic at all. Somebody who I think might be sneaky good play today is Baker Mayfield. Now, questions on OBJ start today, if he's going to start or not. It's still early, and I haven't received any update on that. So, and I believe yesterday they said they were going to decide maybe an hour or two before game time. So that's going to be one of those things. We'll get to the receivers in a sec. But that's something, if you have somebody at 1 o'clock, you might want to consider starting if they're halfway decent, which we'll get to. Other than that, I actually had Dak down in here. So we'll just highlight that real quick. Again, there was no way I was thinking that they were going to go crazy like that and just throw the entire time. I had him down there, although obviously he should have been in my top 10. But I kept him in there, call myself out. Last but certainly not least, Ryan Fitzpatrick could be a nice play for you. We're not sure what this offense is going to look like. No Curtis Samuel today, too. Could be a great day for them, because this could be a shootout. Could be. That's why I said I'm not sure if I'd sit Justin Herbert today. All right, let's go on to the running backs. I'll go in my top 10. Here we're just in the obvious land. These are people you're starting all day. I have top this week, not top this week, but some people I just wanted to highlight real quick. James Robinson, again, he came on obviously with the injury, injuries at the running back position in Jacksonville. You have Robinson step up kind of late as the starter. He did great last year. Now you got, again, I talked about this Houston matchup. They're waiting for the number 1 pick next year. So personally, I like James Robinson a lot today. At number 1, CMC. I think it's kind of obvious, not real high on the Jets defense. So I like CMC today. I like Sam Darnold today as well. So, this is revenge game for Sam Darnold. So he's going to want to look to do some things. And again, what better way to do some things than to just dump it off to CMC and let him do it? So again, expect a good day from him. I'm going to call myself out a little bit. Again, we talked about it. I do have Zeke in my top 10 this week. I had him at number 9. I thought that they were going to, with the Zach Martin gone, I thought that they were going to establish the run a little more and take the pressure off him. But definitely did not happen at all. What the hell do I know? All right, someone else could have a decent day today. I like Nick Chubb against the Chiefs. This is a brand new year. I think we had it was 2 shows ago. Dan Maynard came on. We discussed Chubb and Hunt. And he had mentioned, I mentioned how frustrated I was with Chubb last year, watching him chug it down all the way down the field and talk about things. And I got a fan question we're gonna bring up in a second. Sorry, kind of distracted me, but and then go all the way down the field and then see Kareem Hunt, take over and get the touchdown. I mean, that was very frustrating. But as he mentioned last year, towards the end, that's not the way the trend was. They would put Chubb in more toward the goal line. So let's see if that starts the season off. And again, it's KC. They're going to need to score. So we'll see how that is. All right, let's see. We have a fan question. So people, fantasy show of the people. Let's stop what we're doing. We're going to see what the fan asked. This is from Craig. He's got Gesicki or Waddle in the Miami passing game, assuming in your flex spot. Not sure PPR standard on that one. Oh, looks like it's standard. Okay, so he's got that would be a standard question. Go Gesicki or Waddle. That's a tough one. I would go with Gesicki here, only because I see, Bill Belichick, he's that guy that, will key your best target. And I think he probably would look at Waddle as Tua's favorite, only because of the college connection, things of that nature. That might be who Belichick targets today. Gesicki, the big guy anyway. So I would go with Gesicki today in that particular matchup, and Debo or Tyrell Williams. So Debo Samuel from the Niners or Tyrell Williams from Detroit. So in the same game. And, I think, again, we go back to defenses and, you look at this defensive matchup, not looking good for Detroit against this Niners D. A lot of people high on them this year. Not looking good. And, Debo Samuel, I'm not high on these Niners running backs. It's almost the same as like the Bucs situation. You just never know who's going to be the guy. But today, I think I'll just lean with Debo Samuels. We talked about, I talked about earlier, don't panic, things like that. Well, it's the same as anything else, with football. It's the season's just beginning. So let's see how this plays out. But we know who the better team is. So I would just ride with the better team in that. All right, and the other question is Panthers D or Broncos D? Which New York team do you go against? That's a good one. I would probably lean with the Broncos today, only because they are the better defense. So as the better defense, I would ride that today. I think they'll make some big plays against Daniel Jones. Saquon, they said he's not on a pitch count today, but obviously there's some concern there. So, again, I would probably ride with the Broncos defense. And then he had some sexual position questions, which is definitely inappropriate for Craig and definitely fitting for him as well. He has a fascination with penises. All right, we're going to move on now to the next tier of running back, the 11 through 20 tier, if you will. At 11, I just wanted to highlight I have Chris Carson. However, this Colts defense against the run last year was very good. So, I'm more looking at Chris Carson to get dump offs out of the backfield. We talked about Russell Wilson and the Seattle offense not doing much to improve that line. So unfortunately, we might see Russell scrambling today, dumping off, those types of things. That's where you see Chris Carson really shine today, I think, against this Colts matchup in particular. At 13, Miles Sanders. I mean, I have 12 and 30. Apparently, I do this a lot on my rankings, but I have 12 Mike Davis and 13 Miles Sanders. Again, that's only because I think this game is going to be the, quote, fantasy bonanza. Again, I'm going to find another name, guys. We're going to trademark it and everything. So this is going to be one of those games that I do like both running backs, and just only because of the situation in the defense. I necessarily wouldn't have them as high in my rankings, but because of the particular defenses, I do like them as well. One thing I noticed too, as doing this show by myself, man, it's a lot to talk by yourself. Jesus. Damn. All right, so let's talk about now we talked about Joe Mixon earlier. Today, again, Joe Mixon surprises me always in the beginning of the season because I'm always doubting him, always talking bad about him because of his injuries. However, in the beginning of the season, he does fairly well. Minnesota defense, wasn't that great. They kind of struggled last year. So, he could have an okay day. Because I have Joe Burrow down a little bit in my rankings because of his, coming back from his injury, kind of like with Tua. So I like them to lean a little more on Joe Mixon today. So I think he might have a decent day for them, as much as I talk about them. Austin Eckler, still questioning if he's going or not. He did practice. It looks like he is going to give it a go. If it is a hamstring, however, and, I don't have Dr. Miller on, but I am a PTA. He's the one who taught me. And listen, if you've played sports or anything about sports, if you pull your hamstring, it's lingering. It sucks. I pulled mine, I don't know how long ago, and I still occasionally get a little tug every now and again when I try to sprint or anything. So, if it's a lingering issue, especially it's from last year too, he's had it last year. I mean, this could be a problem for him, and he's going against a tough defense. I'll be honest with you. I heard, we all watch the fantasy shows. I watched the one on NFL, the NFL Network, and the guy mentioned, drafted off Austin Eckler, then you definitely need to start him today. I actually disagree. I don't think you need to start him, but it depends on what you have. If you did yourself a favor and listen to TSS, especially to Commish, you got a stable, so you're good. You got somebody you can plug in there. If you didn't listen and you have him and not much else, then you do got to play him today. I'm not sure what you're going to see out of him today. Washington's D, very good. And again, a lingering injury, especially hamstring, could really limit him. I have a sit-em I brought up was Darrell Henderson versus Chicago. I have him down on my list at number 18. I've seen Darrell Henderson, last year, he's had his time and he just didn't do anything with his time. Now going against the Chicago Bears run D, which isn't no joke. I don't like him at all today, to be quite frank with you. All right, we're going to go down to, man, if you're down in this list, you are hurting, my brother, and especially when we're beginning, 21 through 40, although I'm going to highlight some guys like Damian Harris today. Ooh, I hate to even talk about him against my own team because we do have a great run D. However, I'm not sure that they're going to rely on Mac Jones a lot today. We led the league in turnovers last year. What does that spell? Rookie QB? Absolutely. Let's go get it. So I like Damian Harris today. I think that's what they'll lean on. I think he'll have a decent day. But, again, you playing my boys, so I'm not going to go crazy about it. Some other people that we have in here as well. I threw Latavius Murray in at number 32. I'm not sure how much he's going to see the field, but listen, out of all the guys that's come in to Baltimore, he's the best in shape, best ready to go. So if there's anyone that I'd like to see on the field today, it'd be him. Another guy that's way down the list that you might, if you're down here, you're hurting. Looking at the bottom, 39, Jamal Williams. Again, this is against a tough Niners D. However, he runs hard. He runs really hard. So I actually like Jamal Williams today. I think he could be, find his way into the Lions lineup. So if you're desperate and you're looking for someone, he could be somebody that you might look at. Going back up the list, I'm just because it's scrolling, I'm just kind of going through it. So Saquon Barkley, number 24. I know a lot of people went high on him this year. So obviously you'll want to put him in your lineup, but it's a tough matchup. They're going against the Broncos. Broncos got a D. They're a really good D. So I don't know if I say I'd shy away from him. And again, going back to what I just said earlier about Austin Eckler, do you have to start him? Saquon, I think you do kind of have to start. Who knows? He might surprise you. This could have been a lot of just, silly talk about his knee. He could be ready to go, hit the ground running, and have a crazy day today. It depends. But, again, I like Saquon throughout the season. I was high on him before, again, but the questions coming into camp kind of swayed me a little bit. So, again, I would definitely have him in your lineup. I'll bring up real quick Trey Sermon, because this Niners running back duo has been a hot topic of debate. Some people are high, some people are low. Personally, I'm low on them throughout the season, only because we're not sure who the hell it's going to be, and it could be one or two. You go with the hot hand. As a 49ers fan, that's great. As a fantasy owner, that sucks. So I'd stay away from them, quite frankly, because again, you're not sure who it's going to be. Is it going to be, is it going to be Mozart? Is it going to be Trey Sermon today? But you have a great matchup today. So if you have either one of them, I definitely get if you want to put them in your lineup as a flex option. Would not put them as I would put Mozart today as an RB2 and Trey Sermon in as your flex. That would kind of be where I'd play them at today. All right, we're going to take a quick little break, brought to you by the Auto Clinic, and we'll be right back.
This is Freddie the Jester from TSS Fantasy. As you know, I am a jokester, but one of the things I'm serious about is the health of my car. When my car is not working properly, I take it to the Auto Clinic in St. Cloud, Florida. Anytime my brakes or AC needs to be repaired or I just need general maintenance, I take it directly to the Auto Clinic, where they take care of all my auto needs. They are a complete auto repair shop. If you need repairs done to your vehicle, the Auto Clinic is the place. It can be found at 1524 13th Street, St. Cloud, Florida, 34769, and you can call them at 407-892-8104 to schedule an appointment. You can trust the folks at Auto Clinic like you can trust I'm about to have another snack break.
All right, so some other guys that I might look at here. Again, now we talked about the Ravens running back situation. Tyson Williams also is a guy. I have him ranked at 25 today. Again, who else are they going to run with? There's not many options. So that would be a guy who could end up being a sneaky good play today. Especially, you probably did not, I definitely know you didn't draft him. So again, he could be a great play for you in that department. All right, let's go on. We're going to go talk about receivers, and we'll go with we'll start with the top 10. Again, Calvin Ridley, my number one overall receiver today. Again, the fast track in Atlanta is going to be great for fantasy football. And if you have any player at all in that game, I would definitely start him. This is the guy this year too, with no Julio Jones. I mean, you really just have a tight end as your number two. So again, that's who's going to see the targets in the receiving department today. And again, fast track, going to see a lot of points in that game. I like Calvin Ridley a lot. And I got in number two, Devontae Adams. Again, going correlation with the games. I think they're just going to be fast track. Again, this is one of those games where if your team's not on at the time, you're going to want to watch it because it's going to be a lot of points scored. I like him a lot. Justin Jefferson, I wanted to highlight too at number 6. Last year, man, he certainly came on and improved and showed everybody what he was all about. And you're going against a horrible Cincinnati secondary. So I like Justin Jefferson a lot. I think he can do well today. And let's see who else on this list I can highlight. How about Stephon Diggs and the Steelers at number 5? Just again, I think this also could be in one of those games where we thought it was going to be defensive and it ends up being offensive all day. So I do like that a lot. And I'll just call myself out. I did have Mike Evans in my top 10, and I'm not like anyone else. I'm going to leave it in there so that way I can own it. I put him in there. It was one of those things, though, I talked about even in the preseason. The receivers, you just don't know who it's going to be. Is it going to be Mike Evans? Is it going to be Chris Godwin? Is it going to be Antonio Brown? What a great game by him. And Scotty Miller, I think I had a couple of catches in there even. So loaded all day. So you're just not sure who the guy's going to be. I obviously made the mistake and put him in my top 10. But hey, you know, like I said, I'll call myself out on it. All right, let me. We have a fan question, and this is from Don. Don wanted to know Sterling Shepard or Juju Smith-Schuster. You know, and this is in a PPR. So this is an interesting question because of the matchups as well. You know, Sterling Shepard, we just talked about the Denver Broncos. That was a question that was brought in earlier by Craig about the defenses. You know, I like them a lot today and defensively. Sterling Shepard, you know, Kenny Golladay coming in kind of hobbled. Could have a decent day. Juju's in one of those, you know, we got Chase Claypool, Deontay Johnson. So that's in that realm of the Bucks and, you know, those other type of teams that you're not sure which one's going to go off at any particular time. But in this, like I talked about earlier, if we're talking about matchups and games, I think, you know, might be offensively friendly for fantasy, I would take Juju here over Sterling Shepard. And if you drafted Sterling Shepard early, you're an idiot. All right, let's go on to our receivers again. We're going to go through 11 through 20. And we're going to bring up Terry McLaurin at number 11. You know, again, Fitzpatrick loves to fling the rock down the field. Why would you not think he's going to have a good day today? I do like that a lot. And Marquez Callaway, you know, he's came on in the preseason. Everybody I looked at, you know, of course I got to peep everyone's rankings after I did my own, kind of see where I have everybody. And they don't really have them that high today. But I'm going to go back to what I was saying earlier. Games that I think will be fantasy friendly. That is a fantasy-friendly game, and Marquez Callaway seems to be James Winston's number one receiver. So I would definitely have him in your starting lineup today. He's definitely wide receiver 2, potential for sure for number 1 all day. Julio Jones is an interesting one. I have him at 18. You know, it's one of those situations where on a new team, new quarterback, and you got A.J. Brown on the other side. So it could work one of two ways. Could we see, you know, Julio benefit from, you know, A.J. Brown not being able to double him? You know, last year he was on a team with another great receiver, Calvin Ridley. So I think he's going to have those same type of numbers. Although it's a different offense. So I'd like Julio Jones throughout the season if he stays healthy. Today, you know, again, it's one of those, we're going to have to see how this plays out. But again, looks like a good fantasy friendly game. So I would definitely put Julio Jones in my starting lineup. And to end my 11 through 20 list, I have Tyler Lockett from the Seahawks against the Colts. You know, that game's an interesting one too. There's so many great games today, by the way. I mean, wow, I'm so excited for football. But that one's an interesting one too. How is Carson Wentz going to play? Is this offense going to go well? That's really going to dictate what Tyler Lockett does, quite frankly, because, you know, if the Colts offense isn't getting off, you know, we might just see, you know, a more run heavy day for Seattle, which I don't foresee. But if Carson Wentz and an offense gets going, you could see a lot from Tyler Lockett today. So he could end up being, well, I definitely like him for my flex position at the very least today. All right, we're going to go now to 21 through 40. Now you're really getting down here in the pool of things. Somebody I want to point out right off the bat was OBJ, and I've been high on him all year. However, right now at 24, I have him ranked against KC. Now, KC actually secondary is a little banged up. So I actually, you know, if he plays, he could have a huge day today, great day. The unfortunate thing is you're not going to know until it might be too late. If you have somebody who plays at 1 o'clock that you're thinking about putting in and, you know, you're like, oh, you know, maybe I'll go with OBJ and he doesn't play. I mean, you better hope you got somebody left or you're going to have to pick someone up at that point if he doesn't end up playing. So it's a tough call. Like for me, for an example, I put in Devonta Smith ahead of him because we talked about it death this morning, that Atlanta Eagles matchup. And God, if I'm wrong, that's going to be eating shit all day. But, you know, this matchup, you know, again, I wanted to put somebody in it. I have Devonta Smith, supposedly the number one in Philly. We got to see how that plays out. But, again, why not have the number one receiver for a guy I think is going to have a top 10 quarterback day? That's what I swayed. And I'm like, you know what? They play at 1 o'clock. Then I don't got to worry about the OBJ thing. No big deal. It also helps that I had Amari Cooper and Dak Prescott starting. So it kind of gives me that leeway to play with my lineup a little bit because, he's feeling it. All right, let's go at number 28 to Robbie Anderson. He's someone else I like today. Again, we talked about, you want to talk about revenge games. How about Sam Darnold playing the Jets? I'm sure he wants to get in them guts, as they say. So I like Robbie Anderson to make some big plays. He's also an ex-Jet, would also like to get some revenge. So you have this connection that they're both wanting some get back. So I think Robbie Anderson, he'd definitely be a sneaky good play today. I would definitely have him starting somewhere in your lineup if you have him. We talked about Deebo Samuel a minute ago. I have him at 38. Jarvis Landry, he's interesting, in PPR, he's obviously a great receiver, but we talked about, I talked about somebody who might have a good matchup today was Baker Mayfield, and the fact that they're going to have to keep scoring. So again, when you go back to people who have good quarterbacks and might have a good day, well, obviously the receivers benefit from that. So I think that could be a good possibility for Jarvis to have a good day. I definitely would have him in your lineup as well. One guy I'm a little worried about, number 29, Cooper Kupp. And the only reason I'm concerned about him, he led the team last year in targets last year. But, again, it's a different quarterback with Matt Stafford. I'm not quite sure what this offense is going to look like just yet. I actually think Robert Woods was going to have the better day of the two. So if I'm looking at it from that perspective, a little worried about Cooper Kupp, not worried enough that I wouldn't start him. Again, definite flex play, wide receiver too. But I like Robert Woods a lot more. If you have better options, you might at least want to think about them. Not sure what better options you got though, because Cooper Kupp obviously is a big play, a big draft pick for you. So again, what I said earlier, if you've drafted your team, relax. You got what you got. Let the season play out. Play your people. Quick story. A year or two ago, I don't remember when it was. Yeah, it was 2 years ago. The Ravens come in to play Miami. All right. So every expert, everybody is talking about Lamar Jackson. What a great game he's going to have against Miami. Well, sometimes you think you're smarter than the room. And I was actually going to the game with a buddy of mine, and his son was a Ravens fan. And I just kept seeing, Lamar Jackson jerseys, and someone was telling me that it's not going to happen today. Miami's going to stick it to this guy. And unfortunately, that's not the way it played out. He had one of the best fantasy games. I benched him because I don't even remember who it was for, but it's probably the dumbest thing I've ever done in my life. So from then on in, I learned my lesson. Go with the guys you drafted. You drafted them for a reason. Go with it. Go with your gut. Trust me, it'll pay off in the end. You'll be better off for it, especially, again, going with that gut feeling versus, I'll never forget that. Mr. Smart Guy, and now I look like a dumbass. All right, let's take a quick commercial break. We're going to talk about tight ends when we come back and defenses, and we'll wrap things up. Appreciate y'all, and give me 1 sec.
Hey guys, it's Mitch Lopez, your local Farmers Insurance agent. As hurricane season approaches, is your homeowner's insurance going to make the cut? Are they charging you more for your renewal, or even worse, canceling you? If so, I think it's time to put your insurance company on the bench and make Mitch Lopez Farmers Insurance your number one pick for all of your insurance needs. You can reach me at 407-603-7366, or you can follow me on Facebook at Farmers Insurance, Mitch Lopez, IG, Mitch Lopez _ Farmers Agency, or you can check my website at Farmers Insurance, Mitchell Lopez Jr.
All right, waking up with TSS Fantasy. Let's go with the tight ends positions. Okay, we'll go with the top 10. I mean, again, we've talked about this during the week. I like Mark Andrews a lot today. No running backs to speak of. No receivers pretty much to speak of. Speaking of receivers real quick, Sammy Watkins could be a sneaky play today. I forgot to throw that in there. Mark Andrews. I mean, there is again, the number one quarterback I have is Lamar Jackson against this Raiders shitty defense, quite frankly. Gonna have a great day, and again, he's gonna be the number one receiving threat. So yeah, hello, that's the guy you go with today. Travis Kelce, for obvious reasons, always money. Kyle Pitts, again, great matchup. Get him in your lineup if you got him. Let's talk about someone else that I was high on. I just left him where I put him at during the start of the season. It was just asked a minute ago. Mike Gesicki, number 6. Like him a lot today. I like that he's that big target, and Tua was looking for him often during preseason. And Tua was being very aggressive. So I think you'll see Belichick kind of hone in on Jalen Waddle, try to shut that down versus Gesicki. That's just my thought of things, but we'll see how that goes. But I do like him today as well. Robert Tonyan, actually I like as well. And Logan Thomas. No Curtis Samuel. I have him at number 7. With no Curtis Samuel, again, we talked about Mark Andrews being that guy with no one else there. Logan Thomas, you have Terry McLaurin, but no Curtis Samuel. So Logan Thomas could end up being the number 2 target today for Ryan Fitzpatrick, who loves to fling the rock down the field. So that's someone else I like today as well. We're going to move on to the 11 through 20. Again, if you're getting down here, I had to call myself out. I had Gronk as number 13. Obviously should have been a lot higher, but I talked about that prior. Depend on the way he looked coming into camp. And man, he looked great. There's no doubt. Gronk is ready to rumble. I like how they had the Gronk spike a graphic up. That was pretty funny. Yeah, he looked really good. So definitely should have had him higher. He had a great night. Jonnu Smith actually is an interesting play. Miami is consistently bad against the tight end. I don't know what it is. It doesn't matter what coach is there. It really doesn't matter. They just seem to be bad against the tight end. I like Jonnu Smith today. I think with Hunter Henry still, he's playing and obviously healthy enough to play, but, could be hobbled a little bit. So I would like to see, I would just say, I think Jonnu Smith will have a decent day against the Dolphins. I hate even, it just makes me sick even saying it. I got to go regurgitate things a little bit. Noah Fant, we talked about that Giants Broncos matchup. I have him at number 11. I think he could be a sneaky good play today. Teddy Bridgewater is going to be looking for him, I think, early and often. He's a good safety outlet for him. Giants D isn't much to talk about. So, again, could be somebody good. And if you're looking for a sneaky play, 19 Gerald Everett versus Seattle. I do like that matchup as well. I'm sorry, not versus with Seattle. I like him a lot. That'll be against Indy. I think, we talked about that line in Seattle not being all that great. What can help out Russell Wilson? A big target over the middle to dump off to. Gerald Everett could be a nice sneaky play today. So if you have some questions at tight end, he'd be somebody I'd look for as well. I'll bring up the kickers, although I don't know how much we can really analyze kickers. I mean, it is what it is. I don't know what else to say. I'm not sure why people get all kind of wrapped up in the kicker part of it. Listen, if you have a kicker, or if you're looking for a kicker, the best thing to do is find one on a good team you think it's going to have a good offensive day. So that was pretty much how I ranked them. I think, again, I keep talking about the Ravens, Ravens. Even with the devastation at the running back position, I like them to have a great offensive day today. I also like, so that would mean, again, Justin Tucker would have a good day. So again, pushing it all in what it is. Again, kickers are what they are. Find somebody with a good matchup and offensive day, put them in there. It is what it is. It's really just the luck of the draw at this point with kickers. So I'm not going to waste much time with that. So we're going to go talk about defense. So if you're in, some leagues, they rate defensives differently. In particular, in our league last year, we did a little show regarding our league last year. And when teams that had good defensive days always ended up being that team of the week, if you will. So it's a good idea to have a good defense, but listen, there are so many good offensive teams this year. It was kind of hard to find a good defense. Obviously you can go by your rankings. But again, if you have somebody like the Steelers, for an example, that was like, my number one ranked defense right off the bat. Week 1, you're playing Josh Allen, the Buffalo Bills. I mean, you don't necessarily want to start them against them. So, again, it'd be a good idea. A good strategy, what I always do is grab 2. So again, some self-explanatory ones. The 49ers defense should eat today. I mean, we don't know what that offense in Detroit's going to look like, but, exactly that. I mean, I don't think they even know. So I like the 49ers. Obviously, that's going to be my number one defense today. To me, and they're not even really a sneaky play today. And again, this might sound homer, but let's just be real about it. I like the Miami Dolphins a lot today versus the Patriots. I said earlier I like Damon Harris to have a good day, and I still do mean that. I do think he's going to have a decent day. But defensively, Miami led the league last year, and I know I said it earlier, we can't talk about what happened last year with this year. But, there is something to be said about a team that led the league and then held on to that number one guy that was about to leave. All right, sorry about that. We'll be right back after this commercial break. Looks like I lost my feed there. So again, you get I guess somebody went interrupting me talking about the Dolphins. I get it. So you have a kicked off. Sorry. All right. And real quick, we'll kind of wrap this up because it seems like I'm having internet issues. Let's look at the top 10 that I have here. I do have the Patriots in there against the Dolphins because, again, the Patriots did a lot of improvement in that defensive core this year. So, I'd like Miami to do well today. Not quite sure what. Apparently having connectivity issues, so I'm not really sure what's going on. Sorry about that. All right, again, just to finish things up, have some defenses in there that you can, like the Panthers versus the Jets, not necessarily having them ranked high this year, but, again, it's all matchup based, so I do like the Panthers versus the Jets. Yes, Craig. Yes, I do got to tighten up the internet. I think it's because everyone's waking up and everyone's starting to put on their devices. So it's like internet's on overload already. So other than that, like I said, if you're looking down at some of these other defenses, like you might be in trouble. The only other one that I would say is in my bottom 20 that might be a sneaky play today is the Vikings. The Vikings could have a decent day if Joe Burrow's a little shaky Pete in the passing game. That could mean big things for the Vikings defensively today. So that could be a good play as well for you also. All right, we're going to take a quick break and we're going to close things out before anyone else wakes up and fucks up my internet.
Ooh, that smells so good. What'd you guys get?
I got the Rasta pasta. It's really good. What'd you get?
I got the shrimp and white rice. It's covered in this amazing jerk sauce.
Did you know it's their signature jerk sauce that they actually make here, and we're taking a bottle home? I got the jerk chicken. I'll give you some of mine if you let me try yours.
No, I'm not sharing this. This is all mine.
And I'm already done.
Wow.
And don't forget, if you're looking for a Jamaican cuisine real spicy finger licking good. Check out Irie Vibes at 313 Central Avenue, Albany, New York. Remember, that's where the licking is good.
All right, in any event, it is football day. I hope you guys are excited. We got lots of good eats ready to go. We got the house cleaned up. We are ready. I got the projection screen out. I got my big TV out. Obviously, that'll be on our, the wifey's got to go with the birds. And, luckily today it works out great. They're at 1. I'm at 4:30. And on the projector screen and with DirecTV Sunday Ticket, we get all the games on the one channel, the game mix 1 or 2, whatever it is. I forget which one, but I love it. And then sit there and just watch all the action. So God bless football. Hallelujah. Thank you guys. If you woke up with me, damn, go back to bed, take a nap, because that's what I might do just before, because I got to get ready. We got a long day today. But I appreciate you hanging out with us. We're going to do this every Sunday. I know it's early week 1, so you might not have a lot of questions right now. But as we start to go in the season, I'll be here for you early. If you're stressed out, got anxiety, wake up like, what am I going to do? You don't need to wait. I'm here for you. I'll be here right here, 7 a.m., waking up with the coffee, ready to go. I got you. Any questions, you email me, text me, whatever. We'll put up the number again next week, and we'll go from there. All right. We appreciate you, TSS family. Check us out tomorrow. We'll have a full breakdown of Sunday's action. We'll be live. In fact, this evening we'll be live. If you have time right now and you're up, go to Unhinged Radio at between 8 and 9. That's going to be our Stardom and Situm show. So check that out as well. TSS family, again, visit us at tssfantasy.com. You can catch up on all the I'm kicking your ass out. All right, TSS family, we are out.
It's time. It's time. It's time. It's Commissioner Cooper, and it's time for TSS Fantasy. It's Commissioner Cooper, and it's time.
How the fuck you got me up this damn early, Jason?
It's time.